Here's a question we've been getting more recently. This new PVC trim, how do I install it without all those extra steps? Well, here's the answer. This new PVC trim is a great product. Here's what it does, is it eliminates most of the work that goes into keeping this material looking good. Typically it's replacing your wood trim, which means sanding, painting, but the one thing that hasn't advanced with that is the technology of how to fasten it. Well, we've got an answer for you, but let's first talk about how it's commonly applied. Typically you're putting in a trim nail. Trim nail is great. You need a few more of them because they're really not very strong, and it's usually set below the surface, so you've got these holes that you then have to come back and fill. So when you're putting the fill in, of course you've got all that extra material, and you're probably going to have to sand it down. And a lot of times, once you've sanded it and broken the surface, you're going to actually go back and paint it. Kind of defeats the purpose of having this low maintenance PVC product. Another option, the second option, that's most commonly used out there is a color matched head on a trim screw. Of course, a trim screw is going to grab that material a lot better. Downside is you're still going to see the shadow created by the drive system, in this case a #1 square drive, still shows from a great distance away. The third option, and quickly becoming the preferred method, is the only concealed system for attaching this new PVC product, and that's the Cortex fastening system from FastenMaster. Let's show you how that works. The Cortex concealed fastening system for PVC trim is a three-part system. If you're familiar with our deck Cortex system, it's really the same with a few exceptions. First, you're going to have a screw that's designed specifically to create a perfect hole in this material. Second, you're going to have a setting tool that sets the fastener head just at the correct depth in order for that hole to then be filled by the third part of the system, a plug, manufactured specifically from the same material that you're attaching up. In fact, we've got all the big brands covered with the right trim plug. Now that we've shown you the three components, let's show you how it works. I'm using an impact driver. See how we've got a perfectly cored out hole just from installing that screw and using the setting tool. Now that you've got that perfectly cored out hole, it's time to put the plug in. Now, in this case, we're using grain material. Most of the manufacturers offer a flat or smooth and a grain texture. In this case, we're using the grained texture, so we're going to take a quarter of a second to orient that grain as we put this in. The plug presses in easily because it's beveled in order to do that. Now just strike it a few times, and you've got a finished Cortex concealed system on this PVC trim board. All right, we showed you how to put in one of those screws. Here's how you do the whole system. 2 every 16 inches on center and 2 at every joint, unless otherwise recommended by the manufacturer of this PVC trim. Sometimes we'll get asked, we've got a fastener in place, Cortex plug, how do we remove it? Pretty simple. Take a trim screw and your normal setting tool, install it in the center of the plug. Once the point of the screw bottoms out, that plug comes right out. Next, just remove the protective felt bushing off of the installation tool, and now use that Cortex setting tool to remove the screw. Now you're free to move that board anywhere you want. You can still use that hole with a new screw and a new plug in order to conceal your fastener.
The Cortex concealed fastening system is available for AZEK, Clear, Coma, or Versatex for PVC trim. It includes all the screws, plugs, and setting tools necessary to fasten 50, 250, and 750 lineal feet.
Well, you asked for an easier way without all those added steps of attaching PVC trim. We've got the answer. It's the Cortex concealed fastening system from FastenMaster.